most entrepreneurs, they have ideas and they want to act on those ideas and they're creative.
Your time is spent somewhere else as an entrepreneur.
And that's okay. That's okay for you to be the creative in your business, and it's okay for you to want to focus on sales and talk to people and be social.
The faster you learn how to outsource this or find the right people like you to help you with this is just the better.
Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the AbadAssLife channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew Abad. I'm your host. This channel is all about helping you guys crafting your own badass life, whatever that looks like to you guys. And we try to do that by bringing you people who are going to help you increase your level of knowledge in whatever aspect that you need. And today is a really special episode because we have a good friend of mine here, Casey James. She is a rock star bookkeeper. She is much more than that, but thank you so much for joining us today. How are you, Casey?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Of course. Thank you for taking the time. So before we dive into like all the questions and the stuff about what you do, just tell us a little bit more about yourself so the audience gets to know you a little bit better. Who are you? Where are you from?
Yeah, so I was raised here in Central Florida. I've lived here my whole life. We're multi-generational from Ocala. And I have 2 kids, so that was kind of the start of my business. I wanted to be available for my children, and I've learned to help other people, be more available for their own life through what I do.
That's awesome. How was it for you when you went from working for someone else to starting your own business? Because for most of us, I think majority of us who take the entrepreneurial route want to do it because the end goal is to have more time with our families, to have the freedom. But a lot of us sometimes end up becoming like slaves of our own business, right? How was that transition for you?
Yeah, so it's hard at first. I definitely was doing both at first before I could transition fully to self-employed. And at first, it's hard to learn how to delegate, and it's hard to learn how to trust employees, and even to get to that point is a tough struggle. But once you get there and you understand, it's
Things
it's
get
sweet.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can never go back.
It's a learning curve for sure. Like there's so many more things that you have to learn to run the business itself. Like for example, for you, like if you had experience in the area or in the industry that you have your own business now, like as we were talking before, you said that, you work for other people, other companies, you taught yourself certain things. But I'm sure when you first started your business, you started seeing all the other aspects that is not just like the thing that you're an expert at, but like all these other things, how to hire, how to do this, how to do that, how to delegate, how
Marketing,
to work.
everything. You have to wear all the hats, and you have to be good at all the hats.
Yeah.
And, unless you can afford, like if your business takes off, if you can afford immediately to delegate things, then great for you. But for 90% of entrepreneurs, that's not the case.
That's one of the key things is like we all, at least majority of us, do wear most of the hats at first. And I think like the ones that you see that crack the code are the ones that are able to start delegating and outsourcing some of those hats, because it's really hard to do absolutely everything at a higher level, or at least at a level that's going to become scalable for your business.
Right, like jack of all trades and master of none. Yeah.
So, but all right, to get into a little bit of your actual area of expertise in the bookkeeping and that side of things, how did you end up on that? Like, what made you choose that? Is that something that you really liked and enjoy? Is that something that just happened? Like,
so growing up, I had experience doing it in a small company, and it came easy to me, and the flow of money through businesses and how accounting works just came really easy to me. So when I was looking for a route of like an entrepreneurial route, and I knew I could do something from home, and I knew I could do it and it would be profitable enough that I could be with my family and have a little bit of time freedom. I knew I was super efficient at it. Then that's kind of what steered me that way.
That's what made you take the leap. So what would you say for like all the entrepreneurs at home, or all those people that are new at this and that might not have the luxury to have a bookkeeper or an accountant or all these things? like how would you say that they should be preparing themselves by the end of the year?
Yeah, so if you don't have a bookkeeper, if you don't, and you don't have the luxury of doing that, just at its simplest form, Ziploc baggies. These were my expenses for fuel, and these were my expenses for, and then you can simply sit at the end of the year and total those baggies up. But if you have just have some kind of organization. Keep a simple ledger, a simple spreadsheet of the monies that are coming in and the monies that are going out. At its simplest form, that's what bookkeeping is what's in, what's coming in, and what's going out. I would say that's the base place
That's
to
one.
start.
Yeah, I mean,
Just start there, yeah.
sometimes the simplest things make such a huge impact on businesses, right? And we hear it, we know it, people tell us, and a lot of us still don't do it until we realize, like, okay, this is something that needs to be done. I was listening to another podcast recently, and I heard, I don't remember the quote exactly, but it was like, a business without all the proper documentation is kind of like a body without bones, right? It's
Right.
one of the most important things for you to be able to scale your business. Because
Absolutely.
if you don't have a grip on all these things, like it's going to be virtually impossible
Right.
for you.
Right, because a business can be making 10, 20, 30, $40,000 a month, but they can also be operating at a loss. So if you don't know where your money's bleeding and you don't know what's actually making you money, like what you're profiting from, you're literally just shooting
Yeah,
in the dark. Like you're just going day to day.
absolutely. So 1099s, like what do businesses do with them? When are they due? Like what would be like the easiest way to explain
Yeah,
to
so 1099s are a big deal right now for the end of the year. All of my clients' companies were making sure that all of the vendors that they've paid were totaling and making sure that anybody that was paid over $600 who's a self-employed person, a sole proprietor, and or an LLC is going to need a 1099. So the IRS wants you to report to them that this self-employed person has gotten money from your company. Um, right now it's important for people to be getting all of those numbers together because they're due January 31st. They all have to be mailed out by January 31st. So collecting W-9s from self-employed people sometimes can be difficult. So because they know you're going to hand them a piece of paper that says, I gave you $10,000 this year, now you owe taxes on it, right? So starting to get those that paperwork in place is important.
quick question that just came off the top of my head. Like, so let's say when you have a business and let's say you spend anything over $600, so you spend something, buy something for $5,000. Do you only put it in your expenses and to deduct from like your own taxes, or do you also have to send the 1099 to that company that you spend the money with?
It's not necessarily for supplies and materials. It's more for like contract labor or any services that were
Services mainly?
provided. Right.
Okay.
Right. So if let's say I hired you to do some lawn maintenance and you're an LLC or, whatever I hired you to do, shoot a podcast for me. So I would give you a 1099 if I paid you cash, check, debit card.
Okay. Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think, like in your opinion, how important is to have an accurate financial report for people's businesses? Like, what do you think is like the biggest benefit?
Yeah, so it's everything. Like you said, it's the backbone. So monthly, if you're looking at your expenses, you can create targets, and targets in business are sometimes moving. They're always moving. So for this quarter, you say, I want to spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in advertising just on Facebook. Well, you can do that. Anybody can do that, but that doesn't mean if that worked. So if you don't have accurate sales numbers to show like, okay, well, within that quarter, my sales went up compared to last quarter, you're just spending money. Like there's no way for you to actually know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I can relate with that a lot because like in my entrepreneurship journey, like, I've had like several businesses. Some of them have like really taken off. Some of them have flapped like tremendously and I've lost a lot of money. And in both scenarios, I remember sometimes I'm not very good when it comes to keeping track and being organized of things. So that's something that I just 1,000% have to delegate. But early on in my journey, I didn't necessarily do it, right? So like sometimes even in my successful businesses, what would happen was I would have something like a big bill that came and I would start freaking out. I'd be like, oh my God, I have to pay like 6 figures. Where am I going to get it? And I used to tend to be so like goal driven, and like if I have something in my sight, that's like 100% my attention. So I remember one of my bigger businesses, I started freaking out, and then I had one of my friends, he was a CPA, he came in and started looking into the business and stuff.
Mhm.
It was like, dude, why are you worrying about like this business making like plenty of money, like you just like
Yeah.
guns. And I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know, I didn't even have any idea how much money the business was making, because I was just so focused on the deliverables
Yeah.
that I think
It's very
that
common. Like a lot of people will come to me, and part of my vetting whether we're going to be a good fit or not is what revenue does your business make, and you'd be surprised how many people say, I don't even know.
yeah, I
Like
have no clue,
I
right?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know what my revenue is. And so, I mean, if you don't know what your revenue is and you do have those bills, or you do have monthly bills, you can't project what your expenses are going to be, and you can't project what your profit's going to be. So
Hmm.
you can't project how much money maybe at the end of the year you need to spend, so you're, mitigating a little bit of that tax liability.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like that, I mean, like it could be good and bad. Like for example, for me, if you're not paying attention to your like financial reports and like the financial health of your company,
Mhm.
if you're not paying attention to it just for the sakes of not doing it and being lazy and stuff, obviously it's terrible and you should check yourself. But if you're not doing it because that's not what you're good at, and you're just so focused on making
Mhm.
the company great in the deliverables, whether it's being the product or the service,
Mhm.
and the company is excelling because of that, then I think it's okay. You just have to get good at delegating that to someone like you that is
Absolutely.
gonna,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. So most entrepreneurs are not type
yeah.
A accountant types. Like where they're not organized, they're not, like most entrepreneurs are, they have ideas and they want to act on those
Mhm.
ideas, and they're creative, and that's okay. That's okay for you to be the creative in your business, and it's okay for you to want to focus on sales and talk to people, and be social, and not want to be on the computer. So it's not a fault. It's just some hats aren't for everyone, but
Yeah.
it's an important hat, and it's a hat that needs to be taken care of. So yeah, if you can delegate it, then that's the way to go.
If you're an expert on any field or a successful entrepreneur who wants to be featured in our podcast,
I loved it.
make sure you click the link below, fill out the application, tell us a little bit about yourself. If we're a good fit, somebody from our team will reach out to you,
What's up? What's up? Hey, what's up? What's up?
and you need to get ready to start inspiring our audience and become a part of the AbadAss Life podcast. I'll see you soon. What does like a month of like bookkeeping looks like to you, like for your clients, for yourself? What does it entail?
Yeah, so generally we have our clients set up on QuickBooks Online. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the leading software right now, and it's completely virtual. It's all cloud based. So my clients can access their reports at any time, their real time reports, and they are available 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, a month's worth of bookkeeping would look like once a week, my team will go in and categorize everything that has come through the bank feeds, record any cash transactions, anything that didn't come through the business. Like sometimes you forget your
Mm-hmm.
your business card, and you pay for dinner with your
Yeah.
personal card. So that if they send me receipts, we'll record those. At the end of the month, we'll pull their bank statements and just double check everything that came through the software, and everything that we've recorded is accurate against what actually came through the bank in the real world, right? The bank doesn't always make mistakes, but we do double check it because the bank does make mistakes. Like sometimes checks don't read right when you mobile deposit them, and sometimes banks duplicate expenses, and so it's a good double check system. And then we will issue a profit and loss and a balance sheet to the business owner, for the previous month after that month closes out, so they can see.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a lot more complex than people think, right? I mean, like it's simple but not easy, I would say. Like I think like you have to do. There's a bunch of things that somebody that has the expertise that you
Mhm.
do is not gonna miss. as opposed to just me as a regular entrepreneur going and
Mhm.
opening QuickBooks and trying to do it on my own. I'm probably gonna miss a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like QuickBooks is a good software, and you can program it, but it's only as good as the person's accounting knowledge. So
Hmm.
just because oh, I spent $1,000 on business cards doesn't mean that and I've seen people put expenses in sales categories because they're like, oh, well, I had to buy that to make that sales. And I'm like, I get where you're going with that, but no, like that is not how it works. Yeah.
What do you think are the main differences between bookkeepers and CPAs or accountants?
Right. So, um, having me and you being into fitness,
Hmm.
I would say the easiest thing to relate it to is like hiring a coach. So your CPA is kind of like your coach. They're going to have the umbrella of your entire goal, like your goal for your business and your
Hmm.
direction for your business. So they're going to make your tax plans. They're going to say, okay, when these things happen, we need to spend more money here. We need to spend more money there. The bookkeeper records all of that. So the
Hmm.
bookkeeper makes sure that that's happening, and then you're able to see that those goals, those ROIs, those things are happening in the actual books. There's kind of three legs to it. So you're out there making the money and spending the money, and then the CPA says we need to spend more money here, and the bookkeeper is showing the CPA these are where we're spending money. What's our goals?
Yeah, that's the second time that I hear the tripod analogy because I
Mm-hmm.
was at this one conference and my thing was like, look, I'm hiring like these CPAs towards the end of the year
Mm-hmm.
and we're like running like chickens with their heads cut off because like my whole year was a mess and then my CPA doesn't even want to help me because it's
Mm-hmm.
just a complete disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And so like at what point do you think like um, people should have like an ongoing bookkeeping service because a lot of us I think wait until the end of the year to try to start get our things in order.
Yeah. So waiting till the end of the year is not ideal, especially if you're coasting and you've been in business 10 years and you don't care to grow and you don't care to know what your numbers are all year and it's steady.
By all means, yeah.
Sure, you do your thing, but it's still not ideal. But if you are a business that is a newer business, you're trying to scale, you're trying to adhere to a tax plan, you're trying to grow and make money, you can't hit a target if you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what it is. So at the end of the year, if you're waiting and at the end of the year, December 31st, you're like, oh, I made $100,000 in profit. There's no
Yeah.
time to spend money. There's no time to buy new assets. There's no time to put yourself on payroll and take a salary from your business so that you are, now you don't have to pay taxes on these expenses that you're, right. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong when you wait and you're kind of like always like you're catching up to it. It's better to plan ahead when it comes to money, like in taxes. Like if you don't know where you're going,
Yeah, it's hard to follow the path if you don't know, if you don't have
right.
a
You don't know what
consistent
you're
goal.
doing. You're just going day to day, and you're like, oh, I'm making money every day. Money's coming in. I'm able to pay people at the end of the week. Okay, that's great, but also,
So like now by this time, like I've seen like a lot of the benefits that it's having, a bookkeeper, and like you've helped me tremendously with all the things that you've done for me. So what would you say is some of like the examples of how your company saves money to like small businesses or mid-tier businesses?
yeah. So we save people money and time. Just being able to see where they're spending money. I've had clients say, "Oh my God, I had no idea I was spending that much on supplies. I need to find a new supply house. Like I need to find a cheaper contractor. And then the average is 10 to 15 hours a month is what people spend on bookkeeping, and I think that's a lower estimate because if you're actually doing your own billing and accounts payable, it goes up closer to 25 hours a month. So what's your time worth, right?
Yeah.
So what's your time worth as the owner of the business? Are you going to pay somebody couple $100 a month to outsource that, or are you going to pay yourself an average of $100 an hour is what I would say most entrepreneurs want to
Yeah.
would strive for. But $2,500 a month or a couple $100 a month for somebody who's super efficient, that's what they do. You don't have to go and Google every time you make an odd purchase, and figure out where it goes in the software, or every time you sit down to do it at the end of the month, you don't remember how to put this check in. You don't have to remember how to do the journal entry for that. So it's it becomes super efficient whenever you have somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and I can speak for the way I see things, right? Like we all see the world through our own lens. But like me, for example, being Spanish, I know that like a lot of people in my culture, whenever they're getting ahead a little bit, we've been taught to just try to keep all the money that we have, try to save everywhere we can, right? So like that's what I tell a lot of people that are in my circle is like, look, we have to stop with the scarcity mindset. And it's something that makes sense for you. Like you said, for me, if I try to do my own books, it will take me a whole lot more than 25 hours a month because I'm super distracted. I cannot focus in one thing at a time. And it's one of those things that could be very tedious and repetitive, right? And those things do not go well with me.
It's very tedious and repetitive.
So it would take me like way, way longer. And so like you said, it just makes sense. Like if your time is best spent somewhere else as an entrepreneur, like the faster you learn how to outsource this or find the right people like you to help you with this is just the better. It's not, we have to stop looking at it as spending money and it's just investing back in your business. And if anything, saving your time, which is more valuable than doing certain tasks.
That's exactly it. It's investing back into your business so that you're freeing yourself up to scale your business. You're freeing yourself up to do what you started your business to do. Nobody starts their business to do accounting. Nobody starts their business to do marketing unless their business is marketing, right? But just freeing yourself up in your business is big.
Yeah, that's like it's huge for me. It's the moment I realized like, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is what I like to do. There's like a million other things out there that I shouldn't be doing or want to do. The moment I realized like, okay, I have to learn how to outsource all these things faster is when actually my businesses started taking off.
And you're not going to put 100% effort into something that you hate to do. If you hate to do it, you hate to do it. It's okay. Admit it. Budget for it. It's fine.
Yeah, 1,000%. Well, what is that one thing that you love the most about this business, about, everything that you do?
I would have to say I really enjoy taking someone who is very fearful around money or has a scarcity mindset and scared of the IRS and they're not confident in how their business is running, and showing them like you are doing a good job. Like we can tighten up here, we can tighten up there. Don't worry about the IRS. Like this is your projected total that you're going to owe. We can make quarterly payments on that. Like you're not going to get, levied and everything's going to the tax man's going to come knocking on the door. Like people are very, very scared of taxes and the IRS. And it's been like a real pleasure and a real joy to like help set people get free from that like fear of it, and be able to say like, oh, I am doing a good job, and have some confidence, and my business is running great, and like empower people in that way.
That's such a good answer. I think like a lot of people forget that it doesn't matter what it is that you do. Like you can find the beauty in anything, right? Like for example, bookkeeping for me is something like super boring. Like and for a lot of people, it's like it's the most boring industry.
So boring.
But you're still helping people like get to where they need to go by doing those things. Like you're literally saving them time, saving them money, being like a key team player in their organization. To get to where they need to go.
Yeah, or just helping them have the time freedom, right? Because there's a lot of people who don't understand that like working 60, 80 hours a week, okay, that might be honorable for 5-6 years, but you're going to be done after that. Like you're done. You're going to resent your business. You're going to resent your clients. Your family's going to
Resent
where
you.
are they? Yeah, where
Yeah.
are they? Because you haven't been around for 10 years, So it's yeah, it's been cool to help people kind of find a little bit of that balance and really empower them to be able to make better decisions in their business that helps them have a better quality of life.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to
Yeah.
talking to us. If there was like one thing that you would suggest or advise, new entrepreneurs or people that are new to business ownership regarding the financial health of their business, what would it be?
If you're a startup company, I would say the most important thing is just keep everything separate. Just try not to dip into personal here and personal there. And I understand sometimes like a new business is going to need a little money from personal, but there's a way to record that. But just to run everything through your personal accounts is a definite no.
There's a big
Don't
no-no.
keep everything super, super separated and keep everything organized. Yeah, just keep as much organized as you can, and you'll be okay. Even if you wait till the end of the year and it's your first year in business, just as long as it's separate and organized, a good CPA can do a little bit with that.
Do you think that like a business needs to be at a certain level before they start reaching out or looking for bookkeeping services, or do you think that's something that is attainable since the very beginning, depending on their budget and stuff?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I've had both. I've had businesses come to me that are grossing over 300,000 and they're ready to outsource it because they're done with it. They think, okay, now I have money. I'm started to hire employees. I can outsource bookkeeping, which is a good spot to be in. But I've also started with businesses that were brand new and making zero income and followed these businesses to seven figures. So it's you don't necessarily have to start with a bookkeeper, but you need some type of system.
Yeah, no, I think that's good advice, especially now. I think it's like pretty affordable, and it's something that is one of like the core four things of a business that you should get a grip of since the very beginning.
Absolutely.
So I definitely would recommend a lot of you guys out there that are starting businesses or have businesses that are in like the startup stages to really look into it. And look, our girl here, Casey, she goes above and beyond for everybody. She started working with me here recently, and she's helped me out tremendously. So I definitely had to give you a shout out for all the help.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So how can people reach out to you if they're interested in your services, if they have any questions? What are your socials, or where can they find you each year?
Yeah, the easiest place to find me is on Facebook, Center State Bookkeeping. You can also email me at info@centerstatebookkeeping.com. Those are the two easiest ways.
Easiest one. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And one thing before I end most of my interviews is like I like to ask my guests like what are their favorite quote and why?
The one that has always stuck with me my whole life is whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So I think it's Henry Ford, and I probably messed it up a little bit, but that's the gist of it.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
as well.
I like that one.
I
If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't.
Yeah, it's super powerful for sure.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much, Casey, again. I appreciate you taking the time. I'll see you guys next time.